Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Good morning. Good morning. Cinnamon girl. There's a song like that, isn't there? My cinnamon girl. I like cinnamon. I like cinnamon. I hope you're all doing well. I just woke up, so got my tea here, got up, got my tea, and so I'm just waking up. What time is it for you all? It's 6:15 here. Good morning. I think Toby's still in bed. I think he went back to bed. He wasn't ready to get up yet. Well, so we got some folks out there, you know, this curator and his buddies, his bros. You know, they've been hypersexualizing everything, and they have found it a very good and effective tool in managing the drive, I guess, of masculinity. Last night, you know, so there's a lot of spiritual unions that have already taken place out there. And maybe not have come together in the 3D yet, but they have. There's been like a blending or a merging with the yeah. I want a kitty. So anyway, of energies, and so there's like these interferences, you know, these masculines, you know, they hypersexualize everything. So what they do is they send in their puppet, their feminine puppet, to dress up in a nice little slinky outfit and to wiggle, you know, and do a little dance in front of others' spiritual spouses. So they're hoping that whoever is connected to the divine feminine will trade up or trade down or whatever that is they feel. Now that the battle is nearly over and the one that has been standing by them, fighting with them, you know, it's like now that the job is nearly done, these nasty jacks are sending in, some women to do a little dance. So that's the thing, you know, if the little snake, you know how in India when they play that flute, and then the cobra comes up? It's kind of like that. And I was thinking about that, you know, they come in, they bring in the pretty woman, you know, with the perfect figure, the perfect skin and the perfect glow and all of that, to do a little dance in front of the spiritual spouse, hoping that the snake will rise and do a little dance for them, right? So you've got these trafficking nasty jacks sending in their puppets, the beautiful bodied feminine, to entertain them, to see if the snake will rise and then discard the partner that got them to this point. So that's where we're at here. You know, to see who's tempted. There's a lot of temptations. It's easy for that type of a distraction. It's easy for them to control the life of the snake. So this is good morning, everybody. Good morning. So this is a general reading. It's about the planetary affairs, what's happening here. What's happening here is that there's been a lot of spiritual blendings, connections, marriages, and there have been power couples in the astral realm fighting together. Whether you are single here, if you're single here, you may actually have a spiritual spouse that you've been fighting with as a power couple in the astral realm. So now we've got these trafficking masculines that are sending in females to do a little dance in front of the masculines in these spaces and places to see if the snake will rise, the cobra, come up out of the basket, so that they can then command that dance, right? And have their way with them. So this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to tempt people right now. This is going to be a general collective read for the planetary system. I'd like to see what's going on. Right now, we've got some folks out there. So the indigenous people are, God has stated that the land is going back to the indigenous people. Now, we've got a lot of genetically modified lookalikes here walking around in animated corpses, thinking that all of the wealth of all of the living belong to them. There are a bunch of stalkers in the invisible realm. There's fewer of them now, but they're still there, and they're very serious about taking the most powerful, most potent, and most gifted people and absorbing them or consuming them. All right, so in the central energy, everyone, Spirit Divine, Holy Spirit, what storyline would you like to share with the people, please? What's going on with the planet, with these snakes and these traffickers sending in their little dancers to do a temptation for kingdom spouses? Well, we've got the 10 of Cups here. So there is a divine love coming together in the other realm, in this new timeline or new space and place. There is a divine love coming together. Now, I don't know why I'm still here by myself rather than over here where all the celebrations are going on. I'd rather be there celebrating than reading for it. But here we are in the challenge position. Whoa. Well, this came out and flipped into the reverse. We've got the 8 of Cups reversed. So somebody's trying one more time. Aimless drifting, fear of loss. The trafficker, human trafficker, global enterprise, most profitable business for powerful men in the world. Siphoning the energy out of the womb of power. Very profitable business. In the subconscious, we've got the Magician. Well, Tristan, in some ways, I think perhaps yes. In other ways, perhaps, yeah, because, you know, those who are naturally gifted with clairs, that's the communication system that we need, right? With Source Divine. Our communication with each other really, so the divine stated we were going to be going back to a bartering system, which to me states that we're going to be going back to a more communal living experience, which to me suggests, Tristan Jager, that we may actually be going through a digital detox soon, coming more online with the organic communications system of the divine. And those who don't have clairs, then they're just going to be out there doing it, whatever they do, you know? In the recent past, we've got the Knight of Pentacles. So somebody's been working real hard on a routine. Get something done. Well, I couldn't say that, Tristan. Wow. Okay. Intentions and expectations. So somebody's working hard. What is their intention and expectation? What's going on? This working hard. High Priestess. So somebody's been working hard on the High Priestess. We got the Two of Cups here. The lens is being looked through. Four of Swords. Rest, renewal. In the environment, we've got the Ten of Pentacles. Hopes and fears. We've got the Nine of Swords. What's the outgoing energy? Oh, Death. Power of Three. Isn't a heavy burden, a Ten of Wands burden. They are being restricted from the Queen of Pentacles charity. And we're having a rebirth. All is well. We've got a victory over the Five of Swords and the Five of Wands. Competition, conflict, abuse, trickery, fraud. So there's a victory here over this fraud. And you're weary over dealing with the history of things. Oh my goodness. So it looks like the love of Divine Masculine is calling judgment and putting up the guard due to some investigative work and the truth as professed by the mothers. They get a new beginning. And that's a painful ending a failure for this magician that's been coming after this lover's stuff. You were able to keep things in balance and in check. So, you know, we got some stuff going on. There is a death of this last cycle. You know, people are upset. Why do I get trolled, Angelina? Huh. Well, aren't you just a sweetie pie? You can go away. Using the wrong words? What the hell is that? It's so funny, you know, I'm speaking and somebody doesn't like the way I speak, so they got to get on here and they got to slander the way that I'm speaking. It's like, dude, dudette, if you're not entertained by the story time, there's no reason for you to be here. And that's enough, Tristan. Okay? We're just going to be done with that. Yeah, there's trolls. They get on here. First thing, when I first pop up, there's a whole bunch of trolls. So my apologies. I got to pause every once in a while and delete some stuff or hide some people because they just get, There's no reason for it. All right, so we got the Ten of Cups here, divine love. And a heart bond. So this is divine love. Game Genie. This is a planetary read. Wow, guys. Have you been up drinking all night or something? Because you're acting like an immature younger person that's been up all night partying the way you're speaking. Do you have anything intelligent to say? So we've got the Eight of Cups in the reverse. Somebody is aimlessly drifting. Sacred space. So there could be a fear of change. Trying one more time. Somebody's at an indecision. We've got sacred space. So that we got the Ten of Cups and a heart bond. So these are true divine unions. Somebody wants to try again to get into your sacred space. They're doing magic. They're wanting to try again to get into your sacred space. They keep saying, this curator and their friends, they keep saying, we're going to be back. We're getting back in. They do sound like that, don't they, Monique? I was debating whether I should just record this one rather than go live. But going live, it gives me an opportunity to kind of weed out some folks. So it kind of, it's a double-edged sword. It's kind of an annoyance, but at the same time, it gives me an opportunity to kind of weed them out. All right, so you got the Ten of Cups, a heart bond. Somebody's trying again. They have a fear of change. They're trying to get back into the sacred space. So they want re-entry. They've been kicked out. The Magician is trying to do magic over the anomaly, which is you, the bright and shining. You're the high priestess. So they want to do magic over your divinity. The Knight of Pentacles has been doing some hard work on a routine over the territory. So he's doing hard work in the territory. Intention's expectation is we've got the High Priestess here. Good morning, everybody. And we've got curiosity, the High Priestess. This is sacred knowledge, sacred space. It's curiosity. We've got the Two of Cups here. So mutual attractions. Hello, everyone. Woo. And a routine. Where's my book? Routine, number 42. Hello. Every morning I watch the crows return to my neighborhood, and every evening I see them as they depart. It is like clockwork. The crows have a routine that they have stuck with for as long as I can remember. Routine speaks to the things we do out of habit because it is part of who we are, what is expected of us. In many ways, it is a routine that creates stability. However, it can also lead to stagnation or getting into a rut. So it appears to me as though these marriage connections are doing work routinely to bring about stability within the territory of the High Priestess, which is connected to source, right? So we've got some very high quality people in the territory, and they are source connected, and this is like, so this energy is very sacred, right? So we've got the Four of Swords here. There is a renewal, some kind of planning for the future, perhaps. Communications. So communications for the, oh, thank you, Miriam. So you're recovering. You're making plans for the future. You could be making plans for the future on how you're going to communicate in the world. There could be a restructuring. The other day, I've been getting some reads regarding digital detox, like phones are being smashed, like the AI system might be experiencing some kind of a crash. So we've got, yeah, okay, I'm going to get back to that here in a minute. So in the central, or in the environment, we've got the 10 of Pentacles. So there's the wealth, there's an inheritance, the ultimate completion. Everybody's coming into what they deserve. Balance. So yeah, long-term success. And somebody's having a nightmare about that. Somebody's in a nightmare over you getting this wealth and restoring balance. You know, in the previous cycle, we've had a lot of folks that have been thriving on chaos and the destabilization of the family unit within the community. Oh, Jordan, thank you. That's so nice to see first thing in the morning. I really like comments like that as opposed to the others. Thanks so much. It's early. I just woke up, so I'm not quite all together there, but this is like first thing, first communications. And I think that's when everything is the most quiet anyway. They say that the best time to meditate is right after waking in the morning. That's the best time to connect with Source. So yes, somebody is in a nightmare. They received some kind of a warning. And we've got death. Thank you, Barbie. So there's death and endings. There's endings, severe endings. Here somebody's having a nightmare. They were warned, there were warning. Trickery. Death to trickery. Death to trickery and fraud. And that, you know, yeah, so risk, they're at risk. Those people who were putting you at risk or putting the children at risk are being released. They're in upheaval. Those people who were interested in feeding on the purity of the little ones are in upheaval because of their mimicry, their catfishing, their copycatting, their flipping and replacing, their stealing wealth, them stealing statuses of authority, them unaliving people that God has blessed and then stepping in and taking over that blessing. God is delivering wrath to the pretenders. So like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, you got the human traffickers over here that rely on the womb of power to cast their magic and their illusions. They sent in a divine feminine. Well, she might be karmic because I don't think divine feminines would do this. She was a chocolatey colored gal and she had on a white sweater like I was wearing yesterday and a matching short skirt. And she started wiggling, doing a little dance for a man, you know, hoping that that little cobra would come up out of the basket and that she could just make the snake dance and, you know, lead them however she wants to. But that is a person, a puppet of the human trafficker, of the slave trade. So they're in there trying to tempt divine masculines away from their divine feminines in the astral spaces right now. And they're trying to tempt them to replace them with these other options. So it's kind of sad. because you masculines and you divine feminines, so God, 17 months ago, maybe up to like 24 months ago, has played matchmaker. He matchy people. The divine feminines and the divine masculines were brought together in a matched pairing in the astral spaces, in the 4D, 5D, whatever you want to say, in order to come together to blend those gifts and to be utilized in the disruption of the previous cycle. Oh, Jaunty Louise, I'm sorry to hear you're having a tough time. It can be tough. I woke up tough because I saw that woman doing a little dance for my masculine. And being an oracle and a psychic and a prophetess, it's difficult because you have visions and you don't know if these visions are for you or for you. So all of them feel very personal, even though I know all of them are not personal. So I share them here. I get really passionate about the messages because they do feel so personal. Well, I appreciate your kindness too, Jaunty Louise, because there's a lot of folks out there who really aren't. They pride themselves on being cruel. In the central energy, we've got the 10 of Cups and we have the heart bond, the pairing. So it's an actual divine love, a beautiful divine love, a heart bond. So this isn't a devil and an angel. This is an actual heart bond of divine people, divine unions. Some of you, the adversary has called demigods and goddesses. And so you have, God dang it, get out of there. Hide that damn thing. Why isn't that button working? Gift. So, yeah. So the heart bond, see? So God saw the daughters of Eden and how they were being treated here. These nasty jacks have been sex trafficking the womb of power. God came and the bridges, the crowns were, the hexes, the curses over these divine feminines crowns was broken and the bridge was repaired, and God saw everything that had been happening to them, and he came here and said, what the F? So anyway, he wound up purifying the divine feminines, the daughters of Eden, the apples of the tree. He wound up purifying them, sending them to Osiris to get their hearts weighed, and then they were accepted and enfolded into a new family dynamic in the astral realm, in the 4D, 5D, 6D, whatever D you wound up on. There's a new contract with a new family, and this is the new family that is messing up your these old little tricksters that are here in a nightmare right now. They're getting messed up by your new family. But at the same time, these traffickers are sending in their puppeted roses, their wombs of power, to cast the illusion, to dance the little dance, to get that cobra to rise up out of the basket, and to get that masculine to follow her wherever it is that she's going, right? So they're trying to do the illusions, the temptations, and all of that right now. You were the gift. God came in, saw the daughter of Eden, the divine feminine, and the way that she had been bound in this contract of a previous triangular cornholio, and cleaned her up and gave her to somebody else. Because she recognized herself as a gift, unique. This is the one that was able to recognize the inner divine. The one who said, well, the world can shit on me and call me a prostitute and prostitute my energy and harvest me and do all that nasty stuff. Keep me alone and make sure all my friends hate me. They can certainly do that. But inside it is the divine. There's a divine being in that flesh temple that is worthy of devotion. And so it looks to me like this is what Divine Feminine did. She embraced the value that God gave her. She's like, okay, these nasty jacks have been stripping me of this value that God has given me. And now, guess what? God says, I'm the prize. I'm the gift. And so he took her away from Nasty Jack over here and gave her to somebody else. And now they're afraid because they've been evicted out of the sacred space, out of this territory. Because guess what? The land belonged to Divine Feminine. It was always that way. But we had some invasive species, some uninvited guests masquerading as men made in the image of God, and they came in and they used relationship as their favorite weapon of war, and they contracted into the family trees, and then they drained those bloodlines of their wealth. They're really trying one more time to get back into the sacred space because they've been evicted. So this magician is doing magic on the anomaly, which is you. High priestess, high priest, sacred wisdom, connected to source, recognized, identifiable as a son and daughter. But you got this nasty jack over here that's been getting off and by on trickery, by siphoning the identity, the energy, the memories of others and dressing up in it and then claiming that prize. Well, God says, you're not of my lineage. Oh, no, no, no. This prize doesn't belong to you. This is the gift. And this is the gift that has been given in, so there could be like sons and daughters in God's kingdom. And it could very well be that while they were here cleaning stuff up, they discovered you, Divine Feminine, and said, oh, I think I'm gonna, this is my daughter, and I'm gonna go ahead and pair her with this one. And you know, the wonderful thing is that this isn't Nasty Jack. This isn't Mudman, you know? Telling you who you must go lay with. You know, you got these little 13-year-old girls being forced to marry 45-year-old perverts. I mean, come on, man. It's so bad. It's so bad. God wouldn't do that to his beautiful divine daughter. So you got your match. So in the past, it was like a devil. You know, they had like 30% of something, and you had 100%. And so you were gifted as an opportunity for this Mr. 30% to level up. And what did they do? They sacrificed you to the devil, and they kept 50%. So now their 30% is 80%, and they're just a happy little jack, right? Running around while you're suffering, and they're drawing off you, and the devil is feeding, and everybody's freaking happy, except for you. And now they're afraid of change. They're trying to get back into the sacred space. They've been exploiting others with these third-party unfaithful, there's like a water beast, Leviathan, or whoever the hell that is, whatever shark that is. They've been feeding on the sacred, the youth of the sacred space. So they're trying one more time to get back in there because they want to continue exploiting families and their children in this sacred space. This magician doing magic on the anomaly, doing magic on your light, on your shine. Apparently, they have to go get a maintenance job. They got to go do hard labor. And they're really upset because they've been pampered little F-boys for a long time. They've been siphoning the wealth out of divine feminine's womb of power. Free, unlimited credit, you know, and it's over now. God is like, you're not feeding on these gifts anymore, you nasty freaking jacks, nasty little hoe bags, representing the Father. Yeah, they have represented the Father in such a fucked up way. Excuse my language, but they are so freaking nasty. They have represented the Father divine so badly. They're going to get what they deserve. I have nothing to say about it. If God says, you little nasty mofo, what the hell have you been doing to the daughters and their children from the womb? You know, I mean, God's delivering the justice for that one. I've got nothing to say, and I'm not standing up for nobody because God has released me from having to serve these ones, and I'm grateful. I'm not stepping in for nobody. Everybody's going to get what they deserve. And God said, I deserve to be free of it. And I'm not stepping back in. Absolutely not. Flexibility. So you have flexibility. We've got a magician. Somebody's trying to manipulate the anomaly, but you have flexibility. It says you can adapt and overcome. You can bend without breaking. Hiding is not weakness. It is called yielding and then bouncing back. And you're very good at being flexible when it comes to the manipulations of this magician. They're trying, though. They're really trying. So this, we've got a Knight of Pentacles, hard at work in the territory, or trying to get into the territory. Let us see. Maybe he's been trying to take the territory of this High Priestess, which is this Ten of Cups. This foundation of beautiful divine love, total love and support. That's the foundation of the High Priestess. And you've got Nasty Jack wanting to take over that foundation and turn it into a brothel. They like whorehouses. And this is what they've turned the planet into. It's their most profitable business. And every freaking leadership system in the world is part of it, profiting of it, from it. Well, maybe not everyone. There are some good politicians out there, but they just didn't have the opportunity to do anything about it because it was very powerful. But God's here. God's here now. Oath. So there's a Knight of Pentacles working very hard, responsibly in the territory regarding oath. Unity in diversity. Embracing differences to create a harmonious and balanced partnership, divinely guided toward union. So this Knight of Pentacles is investing in the territory so that these unions are, well, they're divinely guided. Like I said, the Most High God, you know, he saw the daughters, and he also saw the sons. So we've got great suffering, and he matched. So if the feminine's here and she's able to hold herself stable, her temperance energy is inside. She can manage her emotions. She can manage her mental body. She can manage her physical health. She can manage her environment. She does well. So does the masculine. He can stand on his own 2 feet. He has provided for himself in a good way. He has not caused any chaos or ripples in anybody else's world. So now these two entities that are powerful on their own, stable on their own, come together in union. And now this is unity, and it's also diversity, because you've got the masculine and the feminine who both have masculine and feminine within them. And here they are harmonized within themselves. So the two, which are actually four, become one. So it's a whole lot of diversity. A whole lot of stuff is being mixed. And then we got to learn how to bring temperance to that, right? So that it can be stable, unified, and then powerful. Boom, right? That's what happens. In the land of the high priestess and the land of the high priest, this is what happens. You manage yourself source connected. So we've got curiosity. Somebody's curious. The high priestess is curious. The high priestess has wisdom and connections. False flame. So the high priestess is using her intuition. So the Knight of Pentacles is doing work in the routine in the territory, routinely in the territory, to make certain that the oath, the marriage contracts are divinely guided. In the land of the sacred, the divine wisdom keepers. So they are putting up blockages here for anyone who's coming in wanting to gain a contract. False flames. So there's no more contracts with false flames. There's no more contracts with the devil and the angels. We've got true divine source connected high priestess, high priests out there now. Their crowns have been, the hex, the curse that's been on their crowns has been broken, and they are reconciled with God. So they're receiving their proper messaging, and they're also delivering proper messaging, which allows for this divine guidance to put up the blockages where those blockages need to go. Because we've got the Two of Cups here. These marriage connections are here to bring stability. So you've got the upper and the underworld, right? So we're bringing stability. Your roots are deep in the shadows, firmly rooted, and your crown is high in the heavens in the light. So here in the middle ground, your tree is stabilizing the planetary system, right? Upper and under connections stabilize the middle ground, which is where people come to learn about temperance. They warble back and forth between the upper and the under. And, they try to learn temperance to remain stable together. So this is the teaching, right? And those who waver too far to the under, well, they got to go back and get some. It's like a repeat. You got to learn to hold that stabilization. And I think that is the entire goal of being born here in this realm, is to learn how to stabilize, to be powerful, light and dark, held, harmonious, right, within the temple. We've got a bunch of nasties here that are in a nightmare because they did their very best to poison the temple, the flesh, and they did so. And lots of folks are on medicines, and they're being called diseased and sick. And the thing about it is that they're sick because they've been poisoned. The food is poisoned, the water is poisoned, the air is poisoned, and they're not sick out of lack of ability to care for self. They're sick because everything that has been provided for them is toxic. And then they sell this medicine and they say, well, if they need medicine, then they're ours. And it's like, well, no, because you poisoned everything. And then you tried to set a trap for people, casting the illusion that they lacked the ability to care for themselves, which is a complete setup, man. It's totally deceitful. Absolutely deceitful. They're still trying to use this medicine as a freaking loophole. It's so sick. They're a little fantasy. So they're in a nightmare anyway. Because these partnerships, these marriages in this territory of the sacred beings, these upper level beings, are bringing stability. So because they're deeply rooted, highly crowned, and the middle ground is held in the temperance energy, because they hold temperance within themselves. And when they come into union, the masculine, feminine, the four come and they become one. But it's amplified because it's like, it just is, right? I mean, if you can imagine the toroidal field, which is 6 feet in diameter, if you are a standard being, but if you're a high vibrational being, then your field, your reach is going to go a lot farther than that. Your ripples within the system are going to reach further. And so when you two come together, it's like, boom, right? You're bringing stability here. And those are love cups. And that's There's a lion on the face of that. So it is divinely guided. Like I said, it's like God is bringing this together. And he's like down here, he's like finding out who is worthy. Everybody needed to be tested. Everybody needed to be challenged. And so now everybody is evaluated. The judgments have been made, and some folks have been emancipated and gifted new contracts, and others have to go pay back everything that they stole, and they have to give retribution for all of the damages that they've caused people. Even the organic food, Miriam, even the organic food is sprayed with toxins, you know, for bugs and whatever, that when they bring it in, I mean, there's stuff that, I mean, and they can't help it. We got stuff falling from the sky, you know. I mean, the sky is poisoned. All the clouds, the rain is toxic. Snow doesn't melt anymore, you know. So, okay, so we got the Two of Cups. Marriage connections are bringing stability in the territory, because the connections that are being made, the two, they're deeply rooted in the shadow, and they're crowned in the heights. They're balanced in temperance energy, masculine and feminine. So they're deeply rooted, highly crowned, balanced temperance, masculine and feminine. And all of that, boom, comes together and then brings stability. This tree, right, becomes stable, and then the land is covered with these connections. This beautiful forest, this Garden of Eden, becomes very beautiful and lush and healthy. No, I have not written a book yet. I've got lots of YouTube stories on my channel, with which one day I may turn into a book. Alrighty then, so we're creating stability. These trees that are coming together are growing. Oh, commitment. Look at that. There's even love. So there's love. It's not just a business partnership. It's not just because you're powerful and stable and coming together. You are actually beings of love also, because that's a requirement also for God's kingdom, right? You can't just come in here and not be love. You can't just come in here and be force, right? You have to be, you know, controlled power. You have to be the eye in the storm. Airbender, waterbender. Commitment. It's love. Asking the big question. So these actual unions may start manifesting here in the 3D. Asking the big question and hoping for a positive response. Uncertainty surrounds long-term decisions and approach with patience. So approaching with patience, you both know that, so everybody knows that those high vibrational people, those with sacred connections and wisdom, these prophets, the prophetesses, the oracles, you know, the sacred communication devices of the divine, right? Transmitter receivers, the mental body. It's a sacred temple. It's a communication device. It's here to receive the messages from source above and then to manifest it here in the middle ground. And whatever comes into the crown is then fed into the roots. Your planetary stabilizers on your own, and together your tree magnifies and it becomes even more powerful as the stabilizer. And you've got some nasty jacks out here that are focused on sexualizing everything, hypersexualizing everything, and they want to just spend the wealth. They're like little bark beetles. They want to come in and they want to chew the bark off of your tree, and then they want your tree to fail so that they can just claim the middle ground and say that they are gods. So they claim the middle ground. They destroy the trees, and which are crowned and rooted, and then they claim the middle ground as though they are gods. And that's what I believe has happened in the previous cycle. But these trees are coming back together. Because we spent a lot of time in the darkness. We were in the chrysalis of the butterfly, right? The silkworm or whatever. And then we sprouted our roots and we reached for the heavens and we got up through all of that debris and learned about discernment. And here we are. So We got love. We got love, and we got a potent commitment. Intense emotional pressure. So you're making plans. You're making plans. There could be communications happening here. Like you may be telepathically communicated, because if you are already bonded and blended in 4D, 5D, 6D, whatever D, then you are connected. And that means that your consciousness is one, and most likely protected from those other infiltrating clairs. You know, there were a lot of folks out there that gained contract with people who had clairs, and then once they got that energetic entanglement, they claimed the clairs, even though they hadn't done the work to qualify for them. So then they abused them, and they used those clairs to tap into the minds of other people, and they caused insanity for people. Well, you can always ask a question. I'm not going to guarantee that I'll see it in time to answer it because I'm reading cards, but of course, please be respectful. All right, so we got communicate. Ooh, small offering. It's a small offering. Somebody's making plans to communicate, a small offering. There might be a little nudge, some kind of little nudge. Nothing big, nothing scary. But this says, views you as a temporary pleasantry, not a serious relationship. Can only do small favors, unable to give anything more. Can only offer small gestures and minor tokens of affection. So you're resting, relaxing, recuperating, making plans for the future, and somebody's trying to telepathically communicate with you. So you've got a lot of folks that had been violating the space of consciousness. And so it's like the angel and the devil on one shoulder, right? Because there were these forbidden bonds between devils and angels, and now that's coming to an end. So you had this small offer coming in, wanting to communicate with your big offer so that they could change, so they could trade gifts, right? Well, so you got somebody out there that's trying to communicate with you right now. You're sitting here relaxing, recuperating, making plans for your future, and you got somebody out there, squawk, squawk, squawk. They're in your window. They're like, hey, look at this little shiny thing I'm trying to give you, right? Why? Because you've got a 10 of freaking pentacles. Why? Because you are temperance energy, completely stable. Now they know that your person is right here, ready to come in. Absolutely. And they're down here wanting to come in and making a small offering. They want to be a distraction with a shiny thing. Come and look at this shiny thing, right? So in the environment, you got 10 of Pentacles. You are balanced here, stable. And they know that. They're like, oh God, they know you're coming in with this other person here. And they're like, oh no, look, routine. Unsettled sleep brings about fatigue and reduced alertness. Your dreams hold messages. Let them guide your intuition. So you're coming into a 10 of Pentacles, a life of ease. You're going to be able to, rather than get up and go punch and clock and then work the next 8, 10, 12 hours or whatever. You're going to be able to get up at your leisure and go to the gym if you want, then go to a pottery class. You can just take your time and do what brings you pleasure, it looks to me. And somebody is very upset. Teddy Bear Man is upset. They're in a freaking nightmare because you're the gift. And you've been gifted by God to somebody else who is your gift. You have been paired with your match. Whoever this person was that had contracted with you before, like you may have both been at a lower level. You know, you may have both been at what, 50% or whatever. You may have had a long way to go, and you were paired as a match, and you were supposed to work together to get to where you were going, but they didn't think they were going to get there with you. So what they did, Rose, was they went ahead and sacrificed you and took over whatever kind of shekels they could get out of that deal with the devil, and they chose somebody who they thought would be a better match. They let go of God's match, and they chose their own match, according to the devil, and they went for it. And it included, they had to be cruel to God's match for them. They had to really be cruel to the one that God chose for them so that they could get it done, right? Well, they're not able to sleep now because and they're worried. They're having paranoia. They got a warning. They're being warned. Death is here for the trickery that they had done. They abandoned you. They abandoned God's match. They abandoned the match. Not only did they abandon the match and leave them alone and torture them and brutalize them while they were trying to get ahead with their chosen one, the one they abandoned, the one that God gave to them on their own without support and with everybody being super mean, made it on their own without their help, without anybody's help, while under extreme duress, while receiving these brutalizations and the attempts to tear down the heart, to shatter the belief in love and faithfulness and fidelity and marriage, and that, loyalty even existed. They wanted to destroy God's gift to them. They're getting a warning. They can't sleep. You're getting a 10 of Pentacles. You're balanced. You did it all on your own. And I heard you surpassed at least 2 of the devil's records, planetary records, on your own, without help. Divine woman, the womb of power, that which they have been drawing their energy from to cast their magic and their illusions. And you don't do magic. You simply are. Because you're source connected and a high priestess energy here. And you've exposed these ones for exploiting people in the sacred space. Oh, the devil's real mad. They're getting a warning. Teddy Bear Boy is getting a warning. They're having despair. They're in despair. They're feeling hopeless. They can't sleep. I heard these adversaries talking about sedatives the other day. Like, they can't sleep. They're having nightmares. The boogeyman is chasing them. They're no longer covered by the blessing. God gave the blessing to somebody else who is a match. And where are they now? It's not this small offering. Oh no. They're being matched with somebody who actually did the work and elevated, ascended. They're top notch on their own. And they did it on their own. And now these powerhouses are coming together. And these ones who started out at a lower level and then threw away God's gift and chose something else, they didn't make it. Because their routine relied on sacrificing other people, other animals, other lives. They were taking life and then using it to cast illusions. You were becoming greater and greater life, deeply rooted, reaching for the sun, right? Filling up with that power that the divine gave you in order to overcome the darkness, the death energy that they kept sticking to you. Planetary. I'm reading for the planet. As a collective, we have been under attack by copycat lookalikes, pod people that have been harvesting our energy in order to keep from decomposing and to cast their illusions over us. They've been harvesting our own energy and using our own energy to cast magic in order to bind us. And those curses are broken now. The crowns have been The curses have been broken. So yeah, somebody is in a nightmare. They're in a damn nightmare. They've received a warning. They were only interested in dollars. They threw away God's gift. They fed God's gift to the devil. And then they tortured God's gift for money. He's a failed experiment. He's disappointed the Heavenly Father to the extreme with this betrayal. He valued wealth over emotional bonds. He did not see any wealth in the value of a soul. So he's getting death. For the trickery, for casting God's gift in a bad light when they were the source of light that was fueling their illusion. So divine, the upper divine could be God himself. He said, congratulations, you survived. You are identifiable, meaning they're catfishing, copycatting, replacement, whatever. They know who you are. They've been studying you for a long time. Your frequency, your fluctuations, your routines, your lack of routines, all of that. You're unique. And I think why you are identifiable is I think you're probably spontaneous. You don't have a pattern. Like you don't just act. You're not one way at home and then dress up and go out into the world and then present yourself in another way. Like you are who you are all the time. It just is what it is. You don't play games. Overload. So there's death here for the trickery. Somebody is on overload. So there's a whole bunch of people there with their iPhones or iPads, their little notepads, their little announcer thing, this little loud speaker thing. Computer. Process involves too many steps and slows down progress. Delegate responsibilities to avoid burnout. Too many responsibilities, and don't let the pressure slow you down. So everybody needs things from this person. There's death here. There's the trickery. Death for trickery. Everybody can see now they're not the supply. They're not the supply. They were pulling off of the gift, God's gift, and dressing up and pretending that they were the supply. They're not the supply. They're not the supply. This is what they offered, this, and they took this from her, and they pretended that they were the supply. Money, worship, savings. They were taking the savings, the money, from family ties, from the children's spiritual bank accounts, from the mother's spiritual bank accounts. They were leaving these ones in poverty. It was a trap. Marriage was a trap. They got stuck in a bad routine, and you did too. It hampered your productivity. You know, they they flood the planet with all these. They are always coming up with new, more potent drugs that can mess up your mind. They love it. It's a big business. Alcohol, it's legal everywhere. They love, loosening people's control over their mental faculties, opening the gates of the chakra system, letting in whoever to come in and have a good time. So we've got reaching out first, unexpected event. There might be an unexpected event, like there might be some catastrophe. There might be some spontaneous You know, maybe you like to go to plays, you know, maybe this school is putting on a play like a Nutcracker or whatever, you know, and you're going to go see a play spontaneously. And maybe you're going to reach out. Maybe something is going to happen there because you got the twin flame and the trump card. Hidden riches of the twin flame. Somebody's out here seeking help. The walls are closing in and danger is approaching. They're trying to, oh, so danger's approaching them. Why? Because they left you here to push your love up the mountain all by yourself. And it was so heavy. They were leaving you here to make sure everybody got home. They were trying to get up the mountain on your effort. There's digital detox here. Catfishing, copycats, those digital accounts that are not you. It could very well be that we're going to go through an extreme detox. This card has come up over the last 3 days. Like the AI system, it could very well go down. There's going to be no more connections with these other dimensional spaces and places that we are connected to with this system of technology. It's like it's going to go down and they won't have access to us anymore. That's how I'm envisioning it, because they were here, they were walking in and out of interdimensional doorways. I saw like a glass door. There was a field, like a farmer's field out in Nebraska somewhere, wherever. It was a big field. It was like a big field of hay or whatever, and it had just been harvested. So it was all short. And all of a sudden, there was like a glass door that just opened. It was a mirror, excuse me. It was a mirror door. So a mirror door opened and out walked a man in a business suit with a hat, and he just walked right out into that field and he just kind of came in. So we got all this kind of stuff, and these people have been coming through in the digital world, right? They're like, oh, there's one over there. So they walk through these interdimensional doorways, and then they come in and they target whoever this is, and then they drain the wealth out of it. These interdimensional travelers have been using relationship as a weapon of war. So they're coming from the future or something, and they're coming back here and they're targeting the gift, and then they get a contract with it, an entanglement, and then they take down that tree. They take down that family tree so that in their world and wherever they're at, they can become very, very rich, right? Because they've just taken the wealth out of that tree with the contract. Now, look, then somebody needs a lifesaver. Or maybe she's pissed because he threw her in the water, took that boat, threw her in the damn water, and then left her there. So now she's wringing his damn neck. Whoever the mirror is probably wringing his damn neck, because now they're stuck in this damn thing here. They cannot come into the territory and step on the family tree anymore. No more interdimensional hopping through the mirror, the magic mirror door. No, no. These nasty jacks have to go away. Digital detox. There's no more connection into the territory. All communications have been severed. They're not going to come back, because you were here for cycle after cycle after cycle studying how they were doing it. Now, whether you know it or not, because you may not have all of your memories from all of your lifetimes, but your Akashic does. And even though these ones tried to alter the Akashic, your soul has original records that they could not tamper with, because you didn't give it up and you didn't sign any contracts. So God has the original story imprinted on your soul. These ones will not come in and destroy these trees anymore. Never give it back. You will never give it back. These ones have said they will never take anything from this high priestess ever again. They will not take anything from her again. They will not give back. There's going to be very rigid boundaries. People will say that it's a dictatorship, probably. But this is extreme safety. They nearly destroyed every family tree. If you look around in the world, there's not generational wealth anymore. People like me have been single for lifetimes, purposefully. That's going in the shredder. So all of those contracts, all of those original contracts, they're all in the shredder. And these ones have no exit. Why? Because you broke through. You broke through. You were able to say, hey, this is what's happening with these damn contracts. And you were able to get the soul record, the untampered with soul record, to the Most High. And now you're getting a new beginning. Because these ones were tapping into you, using you as a freaking puppet, and then mimicking your value. You've escaped. Your channel might be getting promoted. Somebody may be challenged because they're having doubts here. They're in a nightmare. Death is here. They're being warned. Their interest was only about money. They didn't want to lead people in a authentic and transparent way. They wanted to lead people down a path that was all about money. They wanted to be successful. The more followers you have, the better it is. It's got to be just like this. You got to get the atmosphere just right. It's got to look this way, sound this way, be this way, right? And here you are, authentic and transparent. You're just out here, high priestess, being who you are, source connected. And I'm sorry, there is nothing that says it has to look any way. It is what it is. It's a specific soul song, specifically connected to source. So it's not going to look the same for everybody. And you got a lot of folks out there thinking that they can do it perfect. And it's like, gosh, man. They threw away God's match for them. They threw away the gift. So now they want to escape, or you escaped, and they are crushed by the burden of the reality. Your channel is being promoted. Whatever it is that you have to say about what you've been through, what you lived through, what you did to help you get through it, is being heard. It's being displayed. They left you alone and sought petty gains. And you were out here, you put on that damn hard hat and you were getting the work done. You're very independent here. Karmic justice. Realizing the need for change and striving for karmic justice. The path of solitude reveals truths unseen in the company of others. They left you alone in the dark. And you had a hard hat there with a headlamp, because you are the light, and you were wandering around down there finding out what was happening over and over again. And it hurt real bad because you were being real vulnerable, right? And while they were doing that, they were making up stories online that you were a hoe bag and stuff. But you were able to restore clarity with guidance from above, with this inner light. Those people were gambling you. This is a gal holding pizza. This is a pizza gal. This is a young girl coming in. Infidelity. These nasty jacks bringing it in, gambling with your energy, promising people happy endings, getting an unexpected surprise. They were there to consume you. And now there's a malfunction. They were just chasing after wealth, abandoning love. Now everybody's talking, peeping, trying to see. They made an unfair assessment of you. They made you release your honor cycle after cycle. That's what the divine stated the other day. They said they made you give up your honor over and over again. They unalived you, did a bad thing to put you in South Node, hurt you or whatever, and then they stole your honor over and over again. But this time you get to keep it because God's here saying, what the hell are you doing, F-boy? He's like, you're not my representative. This isn't about the mother anymore. This is about the Divine Father and all of the brothers, uncles, grandpas, sons. They don't particularly care for this kind of representation, I don't think. This comparison here, this chasing gains. They came after the secret weapon. Casanova came after the secret weapon that was heard from across distances. Oh my gosh. And they can't reverse it, this third-party situation. They're going to prison. They missed the deadline for their sacrifice, and they are getting condemned for manipulating, for driving the divine feminine's car into failure, into a terrible circumstance, and then forced her to stay there and deal with it on her own while they slandered her, talked badly about her, hurt her over and over again, and then they called her unworthy. They're getting rejected by God. They're a bad representative. He doesn't like them representing him. That's what I'm picking up on. So there's a celebration. Harmony, peace, joy, togetherness. Celebrate love with simple acts of kindness and give with an open heart, expecting nothing in return. Now, I know what a lot of people say about Santa, but I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at this. Celebration. These ones are being warned. There's a warning shot being fired as a sign of authority and control. And this is bad news. There's a rapid escalation of events that is causing panic and urgency. A sudden crisis disrupts your plans and creates chaos. The unbearable truth weighs heavily on your heart. Bang. Somebody is receiving an ultimatum. God is giving them an ultimatum. Oh, somebody's giving somebody an ultimatum. People are going to die. Let me just say that. Because they were pretending. It was a social mask. They were wearing a mask to hide their true emotions and avoid vulnerability, offering surface smiles to hide a deeper pain. So there's a social mask. Somebody's claiming bravado that they don't have. They're claiming superiority where they are weak. And they're going to be given a fatal blow. They're in danger here. The money worshiper is in danger. The gift that was protecting them and fueling them has been given to another. They've received a new family. This family is divine. It's upper dimensional. Of course, this is a high priestess energy. Death. There's death. People are going to die. I'm telling you, people are going to die. These people who've been worshiping money, they're going to die. Whoa, what's this? Yeah, fatal freaking blow. They're in overload. They're getting a fatal freaking blow. Death, fatal blow. Whoever this is. They say, I've heard that it's going to be the United States. I've heard a couple of different folks out there want to bomb the U.S. I've heard that the coastline of California is sinking into the ocean, but nobody's talking about it. There we've got a 10 of Cups here. Divine love. Divine freaking high priestess, upper dimensional love. Value. Heart bond. It's a gift. It's sacred, man. It's sacred. It's not like it is devil lustful. Let's go roll around in the mud and just call ourselves grand. The more nasty we can be. No, this is sacred. It's not perverted. It's not to be exploited. It's not to be fed upon. It's not to be used, brutalized, tortured. They're in so much trouble. They misrepresented the Father. And they abused the gift. This is serious. It's coming in. It's coming in now. The fatal blow is right there. There's death, trickery, fatal blow. They're on overload. Overload, fatal blow. They thought they were painting this woman as a no good for nothing, dime a dozen, worthless. What do they call them? Birthing person. They stripped her of all of her value and walked all over her as though they were the shit. Little teddy bear boy. Only interested in hurting her for money. Oh yeah, I'm a rock star. I'm a rock star. Well, the gift, while being tortured, made it all the way up into high priestess status. While this, yeah, that. Oh, it's going down. It's going down. Oh. Why? Because they tried to bury you in the dark, but all you did was germinate and root very strongly and then shoot yourself right up into this freaking sun. And I saw in the desert, in the astral, there was a group of people wearing white. And there was a woman there, and she had, there was a red cloth on her head wrapping something. So they took the red cloth off. It was a crown. It was an actual crown. They took the red cloth off. So the curse, the hex, whatever, it had been broken. And so that bridge was connected to the sun, right? The light. So deeply rooted, powerful, independent feminines buried the gift that God gave has now, the bridge has been mended. And now this bridge is coming together with somebody who is equally matched. For they traveled the same path. Were tested the same. So who you're coming with here in this new chapter is your match, and both of you on your own are temperance and deeply rooted, highly crowned in the light. When your masculine feminine and their masculine feminine come together, and it's like boom, it's like the four become one. So somebody wants to try one more time. They're trying one more time. They don't want to give up. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. They want to try one more time. They have a fear of loss. In this sacred space, they have been exploiting people. The shark out there stealing the wealth. What is interest? You know, they take like 40% of your wages every month. They tax everything, you know. You got to pay, you know, even if you were to pay your house off, you still have to pay taxes every year just to live in your house. And, you know, some old people can't do that when they stop working, and then they get kicked out, and it's really bad. So there we got, they've been exploiting people in the sacred space. They got a fear of this loss, but you're holding firm. You're like, we're wide awake as to what you've been doing. We have suffered for many cycles while we have been abused. There is soul records of every harm done, every nasty thing that they did to try to torture the seer out of us, the connection that we have with the divine. But these divine feminines are very strong, very powerful, and they're very firm here. They're clear, they're clean, they're decisive. They know exactly what's going on. They're not drug addicts, they're not alcoholics, they're probably introverts. But introverts just means that they're more expanded because, everybody thinks that out here in the world, they're like, "Ew, I'm a high roller. Brr, I got silky clothes, I got silky sheets, and I got me a big fine car." But high priestesses and such, you like go onto the inner world, right? And then once you get inside of the inner world, it's like boom, and then the entire freaking limitless numbers of universes opens up because it's all that's what the gift is. And unfortunately for these guys, they needed to see it to believe it. Isn't that a shame? Isn't that a shame? So now we've got a magician here. So we got the 10 of Cups. There's a heart bond. The gift has been gifted a new family tree, fiercely independent, proven a leader, leading by example, not probably talking a whole lot, but taking the initiative, opening doors, blazing trails, right? So now we got a magician here doing magic on an anomaly. This is the thing. This is what's in the subconscious. There's been a lot of magic done on the shining ones, on the light, but you adapted. You adapted to it over time, all of that magic on your light. Look what you became. So here you were, you could have been this and you still are, but now you are also this, deeply rooted into the under. So your roots are firmly planted into the under. Your crown is firmly settled into the sun, into the light. And you are the planetary stabilizer for the middle ground here. You're holding everything together. You're like that, what would it be? So if you had a nut and a bolt, right? And you had a piece of wood or metal. Yeah, say wood. Say you had wood. So you got the bolt or the nut or whatever. You got the bolt and then you got the nut and then you got the wood right here, right? So you got the sun, the crown, the bolt, right? And then you got the nut, which is the under, and then the middle ground there. So it's holding steady. It's holding steady. So there you are. The magician was trying to give you a twist. They were trying to give you a twist. They didn't want you to be seen so grand. But they didn't know that, the roots are where it's at, Everything that comes in through the crown now goes into the roots. As above, so below. Everything that goes into the crown is now going into the roots. But we've had a bunch of bark beetles here in the middle ground, and they've been gnawing at the bark of the family trees, and they've nearly destroyed all of the family trees. So God is here saying, okay, we're gonna hit the button. We're gonna hit the reset. So you bended without breaking, you adapted and you overcame, and you yielded and you bounced back and you became. It's like I heard the divine say, I don't know what to say, fellas. You concentrated on her and she alchemized all that energy and she can do whatever she wants with it. So all of that death energy, all of that, Cancer energy, madness energy, all of that nasty energy, you alchemized it and you balanced it with temperate light, right? Very skilled work. Probably hurt a lot in the beginning while you were learning out how to bring that, how to wrap that darkness up in that light, right? History. So in the history, yeah, you adapted and you overcame. You're an original organic human being. Transmitter, receiver, divine. You're an instrument, a very sensitive and delicate instrument who is also very durable and powerful. You evolve. Hidden truth. You are the hidden truth. They tried to bury you, drown you, hide you. You are the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more. So Knight of Pentacles is here working very hard on a routine in the territory to bring unity in diversity. I've heard talk that if people are prejudiced, you know, a lot of people are. They're out there prejudiced. They look down their nose at others. They look at others as though they are superior to them. You know, somebody who maybe has a whole bunch of money or a whole bunch of status, a whole bunch of wealth, they go to a restaurant and somebody's there holding a little towel, you know, so that they can wash their little hands or whatever. And they look down them as though they're nothing, you know, and it's just pitiful to me. They both might be coming from the same freaking soul tribe, you know, the same astrological freaking space. And you got this. It's just rude. Because someday nobody's going to be there to hold the freaking towel. Nobody's going to be there to walk the dog. So anyway, unity in diversity. Divinely guided union, divine timing. And they're not letting you go. So we got the High Priestess there. We've got curiosity. These false flames are being blocked. Any curiosity coming from a false flame is going to be blocked for this High Priestess. She's like, or maybe she is blocking it. The High Priestess is connected to Source, which means Source is connected to High Priestess, which means everything that happens to High Priestess is recognized and known and, you know, managed. Chew. Solve the puzzle. The High Priestess has solved the puzzle. False flames. Copycats. Near perfect replicas. Pod people. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's a real thing, man. They put it in the movies, but it's real. It's a real thing. So anyway, we got the Two of Cups here. These marriage connections are providing stability. As I mentioned, the trees coming together. Boom. Now it's a big old tree. It's deeply rooted. It's quite firm. And we're getting rid of the bark beetles. There's a commitment to getting rid of the bark beetles. There's a communication, a commitment to communication. There's love. It's actual love. Again, commitment. They've been trying to break the bond. They've been trying to get somebody to Judas the feminine. They've really been working at it. But I'll tell you what, whoever this knight is, this isn't a game. And he doesn't waste energy, which is the really amazing thing. It's, yeah. So you got, there's laying to rest. You could be laying to rest. Those who are communicating telepathically, trying to make small offers, trying to exchange hardly anything for all of these big gifts, the false flames. So you could be laying to rest the communications of these nasty jacks wanting to trade gifts with somebody who has so much to offer. So there's no more of that. There's this false flame business. Yeah, because they were sacrificing the purity of this love, of these roses, and causing them to be street exhibits. And their stupid little prostitution ring. They were prostituting the energy, leaving women alone and single without anybody to support them, while they drew off of their energetic force from an unseen place. It's exactly what happened to me, and it's happened to many others. You're the Ten of Pentacles here. You're getting a Ten of Pentacles because of your balance, your ability to manage yourself well and remain stable and harmonious in the most toxic environment ever. You know, everything's poison, everything's toxic. You had people trying to RAPE your mind, drive you into an institution, you know, have you seen as insane. They wanted to burn the seer out of you, the oracle, the one connected to the divine, the high priestess. They wanted to destroy your mind and feed on your soul forever. They wanted to be you. This was their routine, the routine of Teddy Bear Boy. They're unsettled. They can't sleep. They're unable to focus right now because of your balance, your fierce independence. What you did with all of that death energy, that was supposed to take you out. You weren't supposed to survive it. They called it impossibility. They threw you away. But this is the puzzle, the illusion, right? The routine. Their routine was to cause confusion, playing in the energy. I was told concentration camp. And with those words, I received knowing. It's these warlocks, these covens of warlocks, they get together and they concentrate real hard on a divine feminine. And they drive in foul words of destruction, of abuse, of prostitution, of how they want to defile, degrade, mutilate, torture. They focus and they drive it in. You've solved the mystery. You survived it. And you were able to bring all of that information. These men were not representing the Father well at all. You were able to hold balance in this scenario. And they're in a nightmare here. Nine of Swords. Trauma and despair. They're being warned. They were only interested in material gain. They didn't recognize the value of this soul, this gift that God gave them. The importance of the match and the work that they were to do together for stabilization of the planetary system. They're irresponsible. And they cannot mirror you. They're unable to mirror you. The mirror broke. Whatever they put in the mirror is coming back. Death. Trickery. They're overloaded. Too many steps. Too many responsibilities. They're being delivered a fatal blow. Eternal regret. Damn. Sixth sense, subconscious, intuition. You are the owner, the master, top level. You are the crown, your crown. You could be the judge. You could be the law. You could be the planetary magistrate. And you could be this high priestess that God had sent here to lead them straight. And they may have sacrificed you and then dressed up in your energy and then took over those responsibilities, and they failed in the extreme. They're a snake. They're a snake that has been, that tried to frame the apple as trash. But the rose, the sacrifice, when the song, the soul song of the rose is anything but trash. It proved that this was the apple, a direct descendant of the divine. They were trying to cloak this person as trash. Oh, they're in big ass trouble. They're in big ass trouble because this, there's going to be, this high priestess has her match, her new match. And this clown in the shadows is facing an empty room. Oh my gosh, they're drinking. They're drinking. They're trying to get drunk. Their cover has been blown. They're a clown. They're an addict with, and they're toxically attached to you. They don't want to let go. It's like you're their lifeline. It's like they're so freaking desperate and they're trying to behave as though they're all powerful. And they're just, this is somebody from freaking long ago who did you real wrong, real freaking wrong. Now they miss you. Now they're trying to say they miss you, but there's divine intervention here, a catalyst, a miracle. Your fierce independence, your refusal to be swallowed by that shadow, you alchemized it, and all that nastiness they sent to you, you alchemized it, you became it. It is you now, and you can do whatever you want with it. And they're like, oh, F word, because they know what kind of nastiness they sent into you, and you alchemized it and became it, and you're in a perfect, harmonious state, dressed up in your light. And you have a knight intimately connected to you, a soldier, guarding your territory, not letting you go. These people are trying to do these temptations. I've seen that, like I mentioned, that woman, that beautiful, she was so freaking beautiful, perfect figure, flat belly. The skin so nice, and it was a nice brown, and she had on this beautiful, like a sweater that I wore yesterday, the white one with the kind of holes in it, and she was dancing, So of course I woke up and I was like, because I don't like it. I mean, really, you shouldn't be coming in anybody's head doing that kind of stuff, especially if they're wed, especially if they're with somebody. It's rude, man. It's freaking rude. And the high priestess has revealed what's been going on with these false flames coming in, interfering in marriages like that. It's like, what are you doing? Freaking Jezebel, honey, I know your master over there sent you, but that's rude. Why don't you just go choose to become what it is you're trying to destroy? Rebel, man. Woman, go do it. Shit. This a-hole is exploiting everybody in the freaking sacred space. It ain't right. It ain't right. Look at that. Somebody's feeling like a real jackass. They thought they knew better. They betrayed God and the gift from God. They betrayed this fierce leader, this independent woman with a wide open, clear vision, this high priestess. They covered this anomaly in death magic, and she had to alchemize it. And now they're afraid. They're calling her dangerous. It's silly, man. It's weak. Freaking magician. Why are they doing? No. What the fuck? They got to do magic tricks. They got to cast illusions. They got to hurt people, prematurely, transition other people so that they can siphon the energy and have a freaking reward from the devil. It's sad. So the Divine Mother, what she said was, she said that they lost their dream come true when they came for you. And it's because of who you are. Who you are. And why this is happening right now. We're getting a total reset because of who you are. And how they did you dirty, man. These cannibals that eat humans, you weren't supposed to eat from the apple of God's tree. So what did they do? They started throwing the body parts into the grinder and making hot dogs out of it and feeding it to everybody, even the children, setting them up, framing them as cannibals so that God could curse them and punish them, And so it's like wild. They've got a kind of like a, what is that called? Some kind of leniency. They're not being convicted or charged with that because it was a setup, like so many other things. They lied about this high priestess. They lied about everybody. And because she was able to survive, to alchemize all of the death energy that they were throwing at her, she was able to report the truth of it. Finally, somebody broke through. So now she gets a new match. She has a new match here. We got, I miss you. It could be that this is somebody that you've known in the past. It could be that there's somebody here missing you as a fierce, independent woman, but they abandoned you. They threw you in the trash. They miss you because they were being covered by your light and your protection, the gift of God. But they threw you in the trash. And as soon as they did that, it was like, oh, okay, well, alrighty then. So they want to try one more time. They're saying they're going to get back in. They've been evicted or expelled or whatever, and they're swearing that they're going to get back in. They want to marry into the clan. They want to start destroying these trees again. They've been exploiting everybody here. You're firm, you're wide awake, you're clean, you're not an addict, you don't go out and get drunk all the time, you don't even drink most likely because you've got a very clear mind because of what they were trying to do to your mind. You had to get that way, like you had to do the work, right? So it could be that somebody's getting readings on you, or maybe they're having challenges getting readings on you. It could be that they're in your feelings or in their feelings. It could be whoever this is, they're afraid of losing you, but they've already lost you. You've been emancipated. You've been claimed. You've already been blended into a new family. Spiritually speaking, it's about ready to come into existence here. Yeah, somebody's getting readings. Somebody's in their feelings. They're trying one more time. They want to get back into this sacred space. They operate on love spells and stuff, so it's all manipulation. So this magician was doing magic on the anomaly, doing death magic and all that stuff, and she alchemized it. Please do what you need to do with the genders, and then became it. Flexible, adapting and overcoming, bending without breaking, yielding. It's like when somebody punches you, ugh, and then bouncing back, right? In the history, it could be that she has revealed in the ability to yield, to fall, and then to bounce back, has revealed evidence of the history, of the truth, of the hidden truth, of the history. What really happened. They exploited you. They exploited you. The gift of God, they exploited you. That just wasn't smart. They left you hanging, twin flames. The history of the past. To them, it was forbidden. The twin flames were not supposed to come together. They were always paired with the devil. Those days are over. That's over. There won't be any more soul contracts with the devil. God's going to get rid of that. You were able to reveal the hidden truth about what they were doing. So they're not supposed to contact you anymore. You've revealed the hidden truth. So now there's no contact. It could be that they set you up to appear as though you left them hanging, your twin flame. I mean, somebody may have done some really bad things. You know, because they have that transference technology or whatever, they can, like, I've heard them, they can like extract the soul value and then step in and move forward without the personality that created and lived through the environment that earned that value. It's wicked. And then they mess up the face of somebody so that they got to watch somebody else living their life. This psycho. There's a psycho here who won't let go. Freaking psycho. So we got the Knight of Pentacles here doing work in the territory, unity and diversity. There's divine timing, and they're not letting go. They're not surrendering. They're not going to surrender. They're not going to release their oath. They're not going to betray somebody. This is a new GPS. They're not letting go of this path. We got High Priestess here. Anybody that's curious, trying to snoop and spy and research this High Priestess is going to be recognized as a false flame, and then they're going to get like boom. And there is the puzzle has been solved regarding these false flames, these arrogant SOBs, these invader species coming in and demanding that it be done their way. Throwing away God's gift, treating it like shit, trying to destroy it while they choose their own step with this trickery. Oh, they thought God was never going to show up. Oh. Yeah. Reckless sex. So the false flame, you've solved the puzzle of this false flame, and it's this reckless sex. They've been using proper words of love, proper words of marriage contracts, but those marriage contracts or those childbirths turn into some kind of a nightmare because they are all about, feeding death by harvesting life. It's wild. Vampires. So we got the Two of Cups here. The two trees have become one, and they're bringing stability between the under and the upper. They are the stable, rooted, and crowned tree coming together as two have become one. So the children born from this tree are going to be phenomenal. They will be born with all of the sensitivities and soul memory, most likely, over how to deal with this kind of trickery. So that's what I'm picking up on. Now, I've heard Divine Masculine, these warriors out there, I've heard them say several times, devoted, devoted. It's like they're not going to, and these ones, they keep sending in these little dancing ballerinas and stuff, you know, trying to get that snake to rise up out of that basket so that they can lead them in a dance, you know, dance for the devil. It's wild. They're losing sleep. Oh, they're ashamed. They're ashamed. They're guilty, embarrassed. They're in the wrong. It's very obvious. They're losing sleep. They're worried, replaying events, thinking about you. There's a female here and a masculine here. It could be that both of them are feeling in such a way. This has been going on for centuries. They've burned you many times. They've accused you of being a witch when all you are is one with life and the all that is, a natural born healer, a high priestess, a high priest. And what they do is they sacrifice and then create a new life in a narcissistic family or somebody that's trying to take you away, lure you away, move you away from these high value sacred ways. So you're probably born in a narcissistic family. Like my mother had 4 husbands. One of them was in prison for a while. He was crazy. I mean, it was like this weird stuff, just meant to like decrease your value. And they like to run insanity through the minds of these ones, these highly developed and sacred beings, because they want to claim the energy, of course, and the connections. Sorry, guys. I think I may have to leave this one pretty soon. Thug. Bumping heads. And I see this bumping heads card as 2 iPhones. So they go find a high priestess. They have this intimate encounter, and then they download or transfer soul value, and they download insanity into the mind of the one that they bumped with, and they claim the gift. Right? It's crazy. It's a freaking thug. And then they make an exhibit out of the one they bumped with, because they have just effectively traded gifts. Nothing for everything. And then they go around and talk trash, saying that she's nothing but a prostitute, after they took everything. God said they were going to get what they deserve. And when he said it, the voice rumbled through my soul, and I almost died, I swear. My inner child wanted to jump out of my body because it was scary. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Wins. So we've got the 10 of Pentacles here. And you're coming into financial security. You are the wealth. You are the gift. And they made you go through all of these, what they deemed to be impossible challenges by yourself, because they thought they were going to just take from you and then become what it was that they were supposed to become. But you proved to be the gift, the actual gift that was meant to be the elevation. They tried to bury you, and instead you rose and you beat 2 of their worldwide records doing so. You took in all of that. I got to show you, man. This is so freaking important. Okay, you were this. And this magician tried to give you a twist, and they started dumping in death magic, sickness magic, cancer, all this stuff. And you had to alchemize the energy of death over and over and over again. You had to imbue it. You were imbued by death. You're a powerful shadow and a powerful light. You have friends everywhere. You are the unifier and the stabilizer, the connector, the bridge. It's important that you know that. This is high value. Don't let anybody tell you differently. Damn it. I say this as much for you as I say it for me. So anyway, you are balanced. We got Teddy Bear Boy here they can't sleep. They're like they're in confusion here. They're confused. This is a mystery, a karmic lesson. So they can't sleep. They don't know how you made it out of your karmic lesson. It was supposed to be impossible. You weren't supposed to survive. They didn't do their research. They thought the gift from God was trash, and they treated it just like it. Oh, Oh, and it's so funny because we got some masculines coming in the 4D or whatever space saying, do you still love me? So they're in despair, they're in trauma, they're receiving a warning. They were only interested in material gain. That's all they were interested in, flash and clash. But you did not mirror their energy. You did not mirror their toxic lifestyle. So when they tried to make it stick to you, it just wouldn't, because you're a high priestess. You're too high vibrational. You don't play in that energy. It's not yours. So it wouldn't stick. You've got this sacred space. You are love. You are the gift, fiercely independent. You're not this. Are you kidding me? They're trying to stick this on you. This instability, they're trying to stick to you. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? They're unable to mirror you. They can't do it. So there's death here because it was all about trickery, and they're in overload. Oh gosh, they're overloaded, and we've got the fatal freaking blow. Fatal freaking blow. There could actually be a bomb, like death bomb, like bomb. I mean, there's a death bomb. There is a death bomb on this trickery. And you know what this trickery is? It's the United States. I can tell you that. They were doing magic on everybody's mental body. That's one message from Spirit. Now, I don't know who's going to get bombed, but somebody's going to get bombed for the trickery. They're in eternal regret. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. No. There's some stuff happening. Their opportunity for romance is in the coffin. It is dead. They will never, ever, ever have an opportunity for romance with the upper dimensional being again, ever. No. They're under pressure. They're running. They're trying to, so this person who said, I love you, and got a commitment with divine feminine, backstabbed them, mirrored them, threw them in the garbage can, drew off of them everything holy, layered them in this karmic Jezebel's energy. And accused them of being a prostitute. Took her big package there, her high priestess gifts, and left her with that. Treated her like a freaking street corner prostitute, and then, because they bumped heads. This thug took on the identity, the energetic signature of this woman, and claimed to be that, while she was said to be nothing. They're having massive regrets. They're really effed up over you. God said, whatever nasty thing they did to this woman will be done to them. They gave her a life of impossibility. She wasn't supposed to survive, but she is the gift. She is the alchemist. She is the planetary stabilizer. She is the rejuvenator. She is the one that gives life. She is the divine mother. And there are many of her in many different aspects around the globe. Such severe betrayal and deception. The true colors are being seen of these ones who have been kept you trapped in these cycles of deceitful convictions. They're feeling like shit because you can see there's no more sweet talk. Goodbye, sweet talker. Goodbye. Goodbye to the sweet talker, because you love yourself. And if you're like me, you're probably tired of people talking shit into your mirror and then expecting you to carry it for them. Damn it. Yeah. Because these shady people, somebody might try to wear a mask and come in and pop the question. Do be aware of that. But we have here too that anybody that's trying to approach this high priestess, anybody that's curious about her as a false flame, is going to receive a blockage. She's got a mighty shield. What has been done here is heinous, and it's not being taken lightly. This These divine feminines, these divine beings' lives are not a game. Isn't that something? So we're getting detached from these workplace affairs. These people who go and they're like what, a CEO or whatever, and they're like Casanova. They could have anybody they want. They sleep with all the secretaries, whatever. Yeah, this fake spiritualist is being blocked. They're having an ego death in a downward spiral. They're seen for what they are. This is bad news. You're turning your back on them, and it's bad news. Divine Feminine High Priestess is turning their back on them because they have been doing a side hustle with the DNA of the High Priestess, of the High Priest. Genetic experiments, eating them. Shocking news. Shocking news is here. Divine Masculine is getting his wish. Or maybe you're getting your wish and you get to have a Divine Masculine. But we got a freaking psycho here who won't let go of the Queen Bee. They're probably going to get arrested because of the history of what they've been doing so arrogantly. It's got to be their way. They completely disrespected, defiled, degraded this High Priestess, this fiercely independent alchemist, this planetary stabilizer, the one who was here to keep it safe for the children. These nasty jacks let in every nasty thing. And they over hypersexualized everything. And it's too late. It's too late for them to do anything about it. We're closing the cycle of these karmic ties. There's no more karmic ties. All of these contracts or connections are being severed. They will no longer feed on the High Priestess or any of these high value people. Absolutely not. These people who are secretly sex addicts will be trapped. They are trapped in a love-hate environment. The married ones are going to go on and they're going to get the life that they deserve. They're going to be able to live in the moment because guess what? You have to be 100% here in order to live in the moment. And sometimes that takes tragedy because you got to pull all of your attention from the past, all of your attention from your dreams of the future, and you have to be here now, living the moment in order to achieve or overcome whatever it is that might be challenging you. So it could be that whoever you're getting married with is committed to this stabilization. They've done it on their own. They're very powerful and stable on their own and committed to you, devoted, living in the moment, 100%, right here, right now. And it is what you prayed for. These love child, maybe they want to have a love child. Maybe they love you and they want to have a child with you. Maybe both of you are beloved children of the Most High Divine. And what you have prayed for is being brought together, your match. Because God got fed up with these people siphoning from his own tree. And now you are free. You get to go be fake busy. You get to go do things that are going to bring you pleasure. You've got spiritual gifts, and that's where it's at. The soul value, everything, the universe, it all is in you. And it's wonderful because now you've got a new family who recognizes that, who is equally matched. So they're not going to be drawing off of you out of need or greed, hopefully, because they have everything they need already. So when you come together, this whole family is just going to be like, and it's wonderful. So these people who didn't want any strings with you absolutely will not have any strings with you. They're going to get their wish. There's a separation. They'll be left alone because that's what they wanted for you. They're trying to send out love messages, but they've got bad credit in that department. They're in debt in the love department because of all these damn fairy tales, these illusions, these tricks, these phonies. And they're in a firestorm of karma right now. Because they were trying, that's been illuminated. There's secret accounts, these digital accounts, these catfishing, these copycats, these duplicates that have been posting rancid stuff about the High Priestess. So this trickery, this truth, this discovery, it's all been discovered because the High Priestess what? She was able to alchemize all of that death energy that they were throwing in. She was able to survive. She is identifiable. And it has illuminated all of the trickery that has been happening here with the AI and other magical means, gaining contracts in the 4D, never showing up in the 3D, just draining the spiritual inheritance and siphoning energy and all this bad stuff. There's legal matters. They're not happy. Jezebel isn't happy. Jezebel isn't happy. They're getting divorced off the property. There is criminal paternity, child support, traffic tickets. Traffic tickets. This trafficking business. They're not happy. Jezebel is not happy that they're being rejected for being a jackass with their love spells. So they were happy, single. And for some reason, they are heartbroken over you coming together in family. Maybe they're heartbroken over family. This isn't the territory where Jezebel gets to live. So she's heartbroken. Oh my gosh, Jezebel don't get to live here anymore. No, the territory of the high priestess is not a brothel. It just isn't. And you know, they are drinking, trying to cope with it. They want to get rid of this woman so freaking bad. They want to get rid of her so freaking bad. They're coming after her. And God is listening to every single plan, every single strategy. And they're ignorant because they keep talking like they don't understand this fact. I mean, it's ignorance. It's not clever at all. It's just... Anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and leave this one here because that kind of, you know, it's a bummer, but at the same time, it's good. You're about ready to meet your match. And the most wonderful thing about it is that, you know, while it was painful and risky and, you know, you really had to beef up your inner resilience in order to protect your soul from this death energy, you really did it. You know, you are the gift. I mean, the seeds of this treasure are inside, and they thought that they could just harvest your energy and take the, you know, sell it for little shekels or whatever. But they didn't understand the depths of you. The depths of you. Now, I've heard in the past that there's these anomalies, right? This high priestess, she's like, I heard level 47. These ones call her a soprano. I don't know anything about levels. I'm just saying that's what I heard. Now, in the Bible or in something about history, there's a group of folks, a tribe or whatever, that we're not supposed to talk about, that were South Node, level 47. And this divine mother came in to elevate them. And instead of do the work to come up, they unalived her. One of the last things that she heard, according to spirit, is practice what you preach. So they stuck her in South Node 47, and then they elevated themselves up, and then they took on the role as guide and whatever, and they led everybody down a path of lustful thievery and brutality. And they were so happy because they had they had all of this beautiful energy, you know, and all of these beautiful gifts that they could use on people. And it was so effective, you know. Unfortunately for them, you know, the mother didn't do that kind of stuff. She doesn't do that kind of stuff. That's not what it's for. And anybody who has become such an energy knows that that's not what this energy is for. This energy is to bring forth life. This energy is to transmute death. This energy is. So now, you know, I don't think they understood what they were doing. They did not think she was going to become this. They don't understand what they did with God's gift. They gave her a twist, and they thought that she was going to stay down. But it appears to me that she is now family of the upper, the under, and stabilizer of the middle ground. So There's been a merging. There is the roots of the tree in the under, and the crown is in the light. And people who don't understand that that is what it takes to create the bridge that brings stabilization to the middle ground so that the parasites, the bark beetles, can't tear the trees down, they don't understand what they're talking about. So if you're going to be rude here, this isn't the place to do it. Anyhow, this is a pretty heavy read. Congratulations to the Divine Mothers everywhere. I applaud you and the Divine Fathers too, you know, for your steady routine, your dedication to the territory and to unity and diversity. We've had enough of separation. This is so stupid, you know, religious hatred and war, you know, this war between masculine and feminine, this stupid skin color thing. I mean, come on, man. Everybody is unique with specific skills, skillful will and powers and, you know, scariness from different realms and regions and states. I don't know that anybody but God can hold on to all of that at the same time, which may be why everybody was kind of split up so that their load could be, you know, better managed. But, you know, there has to be unity in order for it to be effective, right? So, alrighty then, I'm going to go ahead and shut off. I wish you all a blessed day. I hope you have a wonderful and beautiful day. Thank you. Thank you so much. Tam Create Z, I appreciate you so much. Thank you, everyone.